action.
Hi, my name is Nancy Boyd, and I am the director of Lady Parts.
Hi, my name is Bonnie, and I am the writer and producer of Lady Parts.
Thank you so much for coming today. We are so excited to tell you about our movie and talk a little about vaginal health. We want to tell you a little bit about our movie. So it's a comedy drama feature film about this young woman's sex life who becomes a family affair when she has to undergo a vulvar vestibulectomy. And it's a little bit awkward and cringy because her whole family has to get involved in her healing process, but she discovers that she has agency and finds it in herself while going through some awkward moments, and it makes her a better person for it.
And it is actually based off my own personal true story where I did move home with my parents to get vaginal surgery. And it was a fun time, obviously, and decided maybe we should write a movie about it because no one's talking about it, and it's the movie I wish was available when I was going through all of it.
And it's cool because Bonnie and I met because we both have vaginal pain and vaginal issues, and we decided to make a comedy about it because when you're going through pain, all you can do is laugh, really. Okay, let me see if I can get this going. All right, so we are going to watch the trailer next, and we're going to talk about some stuff and give some resources. Yeah, if you have any questions, let us know. There is no wrong or bad question. Totally safe space. If you want an anonymous question, we can. There's a form where you can fill things out. And let's watch our trailer.
Metro Gynecology, how can I help you?
Hi, I'd like to make an appointment. So it's kind of like a knife digging in kind of pain. It's only down there. Next Monday at 3 p.m. Works great, I'll take it. Thank you so much.
My new dog sat on a cheese grater.
Didn't know you had a dog.
Yeah. Poor thing. Happens more than you think. Everything hurts. Tampons, tight pants, riding a bike, sex.
Your lady parts.
So it seems that Paige's symptoms are the result of vulvodynia, specifically vulvar vestibulitis syndrome.
Ooh. So I'm going to have surgery on my vagina, and then I can just go back to my life?
They're not gonna hold this job for me for a year while I'm getting my vagina in working condition.
You should be grateful that you have a place to come home to.
I'm gonna figure out how we're gonna pay for all this.
This is your daughter's vagina we're talking about. Money is secondary.
I'll come right back.
Again, my vagina, not a family affair. I'm writing up a blog post.
Are you gonna post it?
It's like really personal. I mean, no one's gonna read it anyways.
Paige, do you have a moment to chat?
Honey, you do whatever you are comfortable with. I am positive that people would benefit from your story.
I used to ask myself, what's wrong with me? Why aren't I normal?
My vagina's gonna be just fine. I got fucked up nerve endings. Oh? You called me crazy. So I think I'm gonna have another. Not it.
Have you tried yoga?
I can always do more.
Perfect. All right. So the first thing that we wanted to talk to you about was vaginismus. That is the vaginal disorder that I have that causes me pain. So vaginismus, or also called hypertonic pelvic floor, it's the involuntary tensing or contracting of muscles around the vagina. So these unintentional muscle spasms occur when something is trying to enter the vagina. So that can either be a penis, a finger, a tampon, a medical instrument, or a dildo, anything like that. Something is trying to get in there. It's either going to hurt a lot, or it's going to completely shut. Like a lot of people who have vaginismus describe it as like a door being completely closed. So you can experience that door closing sensation where nothing can go up there, or pain, or both. And so how I like to describe it is from Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. The way is shut. The way is shut. Nothing is going in there. And I learned this when I was, I guess, 13 maybe. I was starting to experience this because I got my period and I tried using tampons and it just was not working. And people would be going swimming and I'd be like, I don't think I can go swimming. And they're like, why? Just put a tampon in. Try as I might, it's not happening. My friend Megan is here in the audience. And I mean, there was a point where she was like, I'm doing it for you. And she tried to do it. She's like, it's really not working. It's not happening.
The way is shut.
The way is shut. And it just doesn't happen. So I was never able to use tampons and then anything else. I wasn't able to put anything else in there as well. And I thought that I was just like doing it wrong or something was wrong with me. But then later on in my mid-20s, I talked to someone who had vaginismus and I was describing that I was nervous to go to the gynecologist. So I was like, it hurts and I can't really get anything up there. How are they gonna do a test on me? And they were like, oh, it sounds like you have vaginismus. I was like, what is this? And so then I went to the doctor and they said, it sounds like you have vaginismus, which is not Bonnie's experience, which she will go into later talking about her experience in the medical community. But I was really lucky in that way that I was able to talk to someone who had it and then talk to a doctor who understood it. And that's why we made this movie, is so that people can see this and people understand that it's a thing that people have, and so that if they have it, they can know more about it. So why does it happen? It can either be sexual trauma, religious trauma, medical trauma, just fear of pain during sex, childbirth, any medical conditions spanning from radiation from cancer to a UTI, or just because your vagina is a brat. Sometimes we don't know why it happens, it just does not want to cooperate. And that's why it's important for us to talk about this, because just because you don't have it now doesn't mean that at some point in your life, you or someone you know, or someone you don't know, won't have it. It can completely change, and it's good to know that there are resources out there, there's community out there, and there's things that you can do, and there's ways that you can support people in your life that may be suffering from this. Am I a freak? Maybe, but not for this. Between 5 to 17% of people with vaginas have experienced this. And the reason why that number is so wonky is because we don't talk about these kinds of things. We don't talk about vaginal pain. We don't talk about a lot of pain that women or people with vaginas or people with uteruses experience, because we're told that it's normal to feel a little pain during sex. It's normal if it's your first time. Like, maybe they just weren't doing foreplay enough, blah, blah, blah. But there are other things that can be causing this, or even for like periods and things. We know so many people who have endometriosis, but we're told, oh, it's normal that your period hurts. Like, that's normal. And people are fainting and throwing up and not being able to go to work because of the pain. So we want to talk about the pain that comes with this, because it's not normal and we don't have to live with it. We can make our lives better. Absolutely. Ooh, I think we're going to talk about dilators next. Yes, let's talk dilators. So in the movie, we call them Russian nesting doll dildos. So basically what it is you're slowly introducing your vagina to the idea of penetration and stretching and practice relaxing the pelvic floor muscles. So you start with that little itty bitty guy over there, and then you go up to the big mama one over there. So this happens like over like quite a period of time. But you lube them up, you make sure they're easy to get in there. You're like laying down, legs bent. I guess we can show you it. Bonnie's like, I'm ready.
All right.
And you insert the dilator slowly at a downward angle, like you would a tampon, and you stop when you feel tension. You don't go past that point. You stop when you feel tension, and then you just move it around a little bit for about 15 minutes, and then take it out. You did it. And you just keep doing that until it gets easier and easier, and you keep like moving up the line there, and then that's the pelvic floor therapy, like dilator therapy, that usually comes with having vaginismus. Yes. Yeah. And something that I think a lot of people don't realize is that it's not like sexy fun times.
new.
And people are like, oh wow, I'm putting something in my vagina. That must be fun. No, it's just like medical homework. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, you've been to physical therapy for your shoulder. It's that, but just here. That's the only difference.
Exactly. Okay.
This is me. That's me actually recovering from the surgery that this movie's about, trying to enjoy the great outdoors. So I said 40 stitches because I have had a lot of stitches in my vulva. And I'm recovering from a vestibulectomy for vulvar vestibulitis, a form of vulvodynia, in style, of course. And I know that's a lot of V words, so what am I even talking about? So again, this is coming from my true story, and while I have vaginismus as well, one of the root causes I had was from something called vulvodynia. And it's a chronic condition characterized by burning, stinging, and stabbing sensations. And if you look at the lovely diagram, it's this vestibule right there, which is the opening, the doorway that we've been talking so much about. So your foyer is basically saying, well, one, you can't enter, but two, when anything tries to touch here, you're gonna be shocked with pain. And you're like, that's fantastic, I wanted that. And so basically what I had was specifically vulvar vestibulitis, which is basically characterized to that vaginal opening. And so how they figure it out, so they do what's called a Q-tip test. And I say vulva clocks because they'll always say it as like, oh, 2 o'clock, 12 o'clock. So when I talk to a doctor, I'm weirdly telling them time. I'm like, oh, it's at 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock. And they take the Q-tip and they'll put it on different points, and you're gonna say whether you feel pressure or whether you feel pain. And that way also when they're treating you, they can be cognizant of like, okay, this is an area we're not gonna touch because it's obviously in pain and we don't want you to be in pain. And obviously this is an area where we can stretch and work on it. Eventually I had what's called a vestibulectomy. Now, of course they always try every option they can before surgery, but sometimes surgery is the only option. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of research on vulvodynia, and there's not a lot of treatment options. There's some creams you can try, and there was one treatment option which I said no to, which was called Capsian, where you take chili peppers and burn off the nerve endings.
Cool.
Yeah, so I said no, and I do have a friend that is doing that though, and it is awful. And I love that that's our solution, is we're like, well, chili peppers, just put them up there, that'll work. So I elected to get what's called a vestibulectomy, which is a surgical treatment for vulvodynia, where the vestibular tissue is completely removed and then replaced. And then I went into it, so I went into it saying, oh, okay, it'll be easy, no problem. And then no, it was a whole year of my life gone. It ended up being an intense surgery. You're out for about 6 weeks where your legs are together like this, and you either stand straight up or you're laying down flat on your back. You can't sit because it'll break the stitches. You can't walk because it'll break the stitches. And that's why they call me Bonnie 40 Stitches Gross. And so after that, that's when I kind of got into the vaginismus aspect, because for me, having years and years of pain down there led to it being so my muscles were involuntarily tightening because they were so used to reacting to pain. And what, to Nancy's point, it's so important that we talk about it, because like her finding out and being able to talk to a friend and finding a doctor is how it should be. And that's how everyone should be able to experience this. And so luckily by this point in my journey, I had found all the correct doctors, and I started my dilator therapy, and I still have them to this day. And mine actually did like stack into each other like Russian dildo dolls.
What colors are they?
They're actually just white.
Oh.
So back in 2016, they only had boring white ones.
Yeah.
There was no fun options. So I might be buying a new set because those don't spark joy. And, so you might be saying, well, that sounds like I've never heard of this. Is it rare? No, it's not. So these are from the National Vulvodynia Association. That's where I pulled these from. Research studies find that as many as 16% of people with vulvas in the US suffer from vulvodynia at some point in their lives. The hard thing with vulvodynia is it's like a blanket term, because we're just saying, you know, nerve ending pain in your vulva area, and that can mean a lot of things. But the fact that 16% of people with vulvas experience it, and somehow we're not talking about it, no one knows about it, and you know, we know nothing about it, is a little insane.
We literally had someone talking about the movie to someone like last week and was just describing the plot of the film. And they're like, doesn't everyone have that? They're like, what do you mean? They're like, doesn't it always hurt when you wear tight pants like there? Like, what? Like, oh, no.
No, it does not.
Really. So it's common, and that's why it's important that we talk about it, because people might not even know that they have it.
Yes, and those people were me, because I used to think that it was completely normal to have pain, and it wouldn't even just be sex. I think a lot of people think, oh, it's just sex, and no, it was tampons, it was riding a bike, it was tight pants. You know, sometimes I'm just sitting the wrong way, and it would hit the nerve endings down there, and suddenly you're like in crucial pain. And everyone's like, oh, well, then you go to the doctor. And I would go to the doctor, and there was constant medical gaslighting about it. And especially with anyone with a vulva, vagina, uterus, I'm sure we all know and have been medically gaslit before. And, you know, especially for women, especially for Black women, it is just, the numbers are crazy. And I don't have them directly on here, but it is always a sad fact. And I've been told before, when I said, oh, I have pain down there, I've been told before it's just in your head. I've been told you just have anxiety. I've even been told to drink before I have sex and I was underage. And so I ended up seeing 15 doctors in 3 different states over 3 years. And it wasn't until I was interning in New York one summer that I found a doctor that properly diagnosed everything wrong with me and set me on a path which led to the surgery, which he ended up performing on me. And I'm so lucky to have found him, and I'm so lucky to be in the place I am now, but I don't want anyone else to have to go through 15 doctors and have to go through that alone. Because 60% of affected women consult 3 or more doctors before receiving a diagnosis of vulvodynia, and sadly 40% of women seeking treatment for vulvodynia are not accurately diagnosed after seeing as many as 3 doctors. And obviously socioeconomic, race, all of that plays a huge part into who is even receiving the treatment. And so that comes to the beautiful fun part of this. And we're out of the depression, and we're talking about the fun of vulvodynia. And so you get the surgery, and there's things, and then you sit there and I know Nancy experienced this too, you're wondering, like, why is no one talking about this? You know, why can't I find anyone else who has this? And so that's when I was like, okay, well, what if I wrote a script about it? And what if there was a movie about it? And what if we started reaching out to people who maybe have this? And that's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
And so,
Hello.
hello, welcome.
No, you're totally fine.
It's okay.
Are you kidding me?
So we got together and we said, well, let's do something about it. And we made a movie, and it's premiering here at Florida Film Festival, which is super exciting. And we're just really happy to be here and being able to talk about it so openly.
Yeah, I think something that is important is being able to talk about it so openly too, because we're told that we shouldn't be talking about sex. We're told that we shouldn't be talking about our bodies, especially if we are women. And if that's the case, we're never going to be comfortable maybe even asking a doctor for help about it, because we're taught this shame around this. We're taught that it's very taboo.
Yes.
So we're trying to make it more comfortable for people to talk about it.
Yes, exactly. If you can walk away with one thing from the movie, even if you aren't experiencing vulvovaginal or pelvic pain, it's being like able to talk comfortably about your body with other people and, you know, normalize conversations, because at the end of the day, it's just another body part that's honest that we deserves to be pain-free.
For sure. What else we got here? Oh yeah, some help.
So, is this medical gaslighting? Yes it is. So, you know, maybe you've been around the block like I have, maybe you haven't, but there are people and resources out there to support you. I know when I first got surgery, the big thing for me was Facebook groups, because it was before the age of TikTok and all of that. I guess I'm old, but there's a lot of blogs and Facebook communities out there that you can, you know, join and ask, and they have been a great resource for me personally. There's also a bunch of advocacy groups. There's one that I recently joined called Tight Lips, and it's all patient-led, and it's fighting, you know, for more advocacy towards vulvovaginal and pelvic pain disorders. And they have community meetups. They're they have in LA, they have in New York, they have Philly, and I think they're trying to open them all across different cities. And I just went to my first one a few months ago, and it was the first time I even met someone who had the same surgery as me, and it was wild. And then there's a lot of like medical education. The Center for Vulvovaginal Disorders is where I went during mine, but their website has a ton of information about a ton of, because this is just scratching the surface of all the issues. These are just 2 aspects of it. And so an affordable program, because obviously why would insurance cover on any of this, is Hello Gina. They're a digital online program where you can go and it'll be a coach that'll take you through dilator therapy without you having to actually leave your home.
That's awesome.
And go, which is really cool too, because I know going to a doctor's office can be intimidating and not affordable. And there's also, as Nancy has talked about, there's so many more fun dilator options now.
True. Mine are heart-shaped on the bottom.
So I need to buy them. But yeah, the Intimate Rose and the Pelvic People's another brand. They make the O-Nut, if you've ever heard of it. It's some rings that go on anything that's being inserted, and it'll make it a little bit shorter for people that might not want something so deep. And then they make the Kiwi vibrator, and it's perfect for people who are doing dilator therapy. It helps with that, and it's really awesome to see.
They're making it fun. That's what they're doing. They're making it so that it's like a little bit of inserting, but then also like stimulating the clitoris, which is very cool. So you can make it a little fun.
And it's really awesome to see, and that's what we're doing. We're making it fun too, and we're like, what if it was a feature film?
Yeah. I think that's what's important, is finding people who maybe they don't even have vulvovaginal pain, but it's important to find people who will support you and help you get the help that you need.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's the thing too, is that even if you don't have a vulva or a vagina or anything, sex should be communicative, and it should only be painful in the ways that we choose for it to be painful. So talk about things, ask about it. You may not know that your partner is experiencing things or why it's happening. We should be telling our partners when we are feeling pain, or if things are not comfortable and things like that. And so we hope that people are more comfortable to speak up about those things, and we hope that your partners are comfortable asking you about these things and being able to make adjustments to make things fun for you, because it should be.
It should be fun at the end of the day.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, we can take those now. We can start recording.